Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya
We are continuing with Caitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela chapter 4 text number 107. Shesha Lilaya Prabhura Krishna Viraha Unmada Brahmamaya Chetasara Pralapa Maivada. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the final portion of his pastimes, Lord Chaitanya was obsessed with the madness of separation from Lord Krishna. He acted in erroneous ways and talked deliriously. Purport. Lord Sri Chaitanya exhibited the highest stage of the feelings of a devotee in separation from the Lord. This exhibition was sublime because he was completely perfect in the feelings of separation. Materialists, however, cannot understand this. Sometimes materialistic scholars think he was diseased or crazy. Their problem is that they always engage in material sense gratification and can never understand the feelings of the devotees and the Lord. Materialists are most abominable in their ideas. They think that they can enjoy directly perceivable gross objects by their senses and that they can similarly deal with the transcendental features of Lord Chaitanya. But the Lord is understood only in pursuance of the principles laid down by the Goswamis, headed by Swarup Damodar. Doctrines like those of the Nadiya Nagaris, a class of so-called devotees, are never presented by authorized persons like Swarup Damodar or the six Goswamis. The ideas of the Gauranga Nagaris are simply a mental concoction and they are completely on the mental platform. Text 108. Radhikara bhava yaiche udhava darshane sei bhave matta prabhu rahe ratri dine. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Just as Radhika went mad at the sight of Uddhava, so Lord Chaitanya was obsessed day and night with the madness of separation. Purport. Those under the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Caitanya Mahāprabhu can understand that his mode of worship of the Supreme Lord Krishna in separation is a real worship of the Lord. When the feelings of separation become very intense, one attains the stage of meeting Sri Krishna. So-called devotees like the Sahajiyas cheaply imagine they are meeting Krishna in Vrindavan. Such thinking may be useful, but actually meeting Krishna is possible through the attitude of separation taught by Sri Caitanya Mahāprabhu. Text 109. Ratre pralapa kare swarupera kanthadhari aveshe apana bhava kahe ugadi. Translation. At night, he talked incoherently in grief with his arms around Swarup Damodar's neck. He spoke out his heart in ecstatic inspiration. Text 110. Yabe yei bhava uthe prabhura antara se giti shloke sukha dena damodara. Translation. Whenever a particular sentiment arose in his heart, Swarup Damodar satisfied him by singing songs or reciting verses of the same nature. Text 111. Ebe karya nahi kichu ei saba vichare age iha vivariba kariya vistare. Translation. To analyze these pastimes is not necessary now. Later, I shall describe them in detail. Text 112. Purve vraje krishnera trivedha vayodharma kaumara pauganda ara kishora atimarma. Translation. Formerly in Vraja, Lord Krishna displayed 3 ages, namely childhood, boyhood, and adolescence. His adolescence is especially significant. Text 113. Vatsalya aveshe kaila kaumara safala pauganda safala kaila lana sakhavala. Translation. Parental affection made his childhood fruitful. His boyhood was successful with his friends. Text 114. Radhikadi lana kaila rasa divilasa vancha bhari asvadila rasera niryasa. Translation. In youth, he tasted the essence of rasa, fulfilling his desires in pastimes like the rasa dance with Srimati Radhika and the other gopis. Text 115. Kaishora vayase kama jagat sakala rasadi lilayatina karila safala. Translation. In his youth, Lord Krishna made all 3 of his ages and the entire universe successful by his pastimes of amorous love like the rasa dance. Text 116. Suapi Keshora Kavayo Manayan Madhusudanaha Reme Stri Ratna Kutastaha Kshapasu Kshapitahitaha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Madhusudana enjoyed his youth with pastimes on autumn nights in the midst of the jewel-like milkmaids. Thus, he dispelled all the misfortunes of the world. This is a verse from the Vishnu Puran 5.13.16. Text 117. Vacha suchita sarvari rati kala pragalbhaya radhikam vridha kunchita lochanam virachayan agre sakhinam asao tad vakshu ruha chitra keli makari panditya paramgataha kaishoram safali karoti kalayan kunje viharam harihi. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Krishna made Srimati Radharani close her eyes in shame before her friends by his words relating their amorous activities on the previous night. Then he showed the highest limit of cleverness in drawing pictures of dolphins in various playful sports on her breasts. In this way, Lord Hari made his youth successful by performing pastimes in the bushes with Sri Radha and her friends. Purport. This is a verse from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 2.1.231 of Srila Rupa Goswami. Text 118. Harir Eshana Chet Avatariyasyan Mathurayam Madhurakshi Radhikacha Abhavishyad Iyam Ritha Vishrit Stri Makarankastu Visheshatas Tadatra. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. O Purnamasi, if Lord Hari had not descended in Mathura with Srimati Radharani, this entire creation, and especially Cupid, the demigod of love, would have been useless. Purport. This verse is spoken by Sri Vrinda Devi in the Vidgadha Madhava 10.3 of Srila Rupa Goswami. Text 119 and 120. Eimata purve Krishna rasi rasadana yadyapi karila rasa nirya sacharvana tathapi na hilatina vanchita purana taha asavadite yadi karila yatana. Translation. Even though Lord Krishna, the abode of all mellows, had previously in this way chewed the essence of the mellows of love, still he was unable to fulfill 3 desires, although he made efforts to taste them. Text 121. Tanahara prathama vancha kariye vyakhyana Krishna kahe amihai rasera nidana. Translation. I shall explain his first desire. Krishna says, I am the primary cause of all rasas. Text 122. Purnananda Maya Ami Chinmay Purnatattva Radhikara Preme Ama Karaya Unmata. Translation. I am the full spiritual truth and am made of full joy. But the love of Srimati Radharani drives me mad. Text 123. Najani Radhara Preme Ache Katabala Ye Bale Amare Kare Sarvada Vivala. Translation. I do not know the strength of Radha's love with which she always overwhelms me. Text 124. Radhikara Prema Guru Ami Shishyanata Sadama Nana Nritye Nachaya Udbhata. Translation. The love of Radhika is my teacher and I am her dancing pupil. Her prema makes me dance various novel dances. Text 125. Kasmad Vrinde Priya Sakhi Hare Pada Mulat Kuto Asao Kundaranye Kim Iha Kurute Nritya Shiksham Guru Kaha Tam Tuan Murtihi Pratitaru Latam Dik Vidikshu Spuranti Shailushva Brahmati Parito Nartayanti Swapaschat. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is very beautiful. Oh, my beloved friend Vrinda, where are you coming from? Purport. I'm coming from the feet of Sri Hari. Where is he? In the forest on the bank of Radhakund. What is he doing there? He's learning dancing. Who is his master? Your image, Radha, revealing itself in every tree and creeper in every direction, is roaming like a skillful dancer, making him dance behind. This text is from the Govinda Lilamrita 8.77 of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Last verse for today, 126. Neja prema swade mora haya ye ahalada taha haite koti guna radha prema swada. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Whatever pleasure I get from tasting my love for Srimati Radharani, she tastes 10 million times more than me by her love. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmaitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So what all did we remember up till now? Probably the last verse we read. Kali Yuga memory. So we started with verse number 107, where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying that Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are obsessed with madness of separation from Krishna himself. And that is the highest stage of feelings of separation. And being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whatever his feelings are, Prabhupada says they are perfect. There's no imperfection at all. In our personal lives, our relationships, our feelings, our emotions may be imperfect. But here, Srila Prabhupada says they are perfect because he's the Supreme Lord and there's no pretense. He's not pretending to be a great devotee. He's not pretending to be, missing Radharani, or he's not pretending to missing Krishna himself. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna that one should not be a pretender. Right? Sometimes we see that devotees may pretend, just by wearing devotee clothes or putting on tilak. That doesn't mean, that you are a real good or a perfect, not perfect, but pure devotee. So pretense is what Srila Prabhupada is talking about in this, that as far as Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are concerned, there is no false pretense, and also there are no false emotions. So it's not that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is feeling that intense separation from himself, that is Krishna himself, because he's in the mood of Radharani, those emotions are false, that he's just pretending to roll on the ground or he's pretending to laugh or cry. No, these are not false emotions, but we cannot understand them. Why? Because we have not reached that stage of purity where we can understand it in the sense of realization. Right now, theoretically, we are understanding. In fact, for many weeks, we are just reading and hearing theory part. Realization will come by the mercy of Krishna. So Prabhupada says that seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, some of them thought maybe he's crazy or he's diseased. Maybe he has some disease or some mental condition that he's behaving in such a crazy way. So Prabhupada says that those who are engaged in sense gratification, those who are interested in materialistic life, they cannot understand. They first need to become purified to be able to understand these high level subjects. And we all know purity will come from the very first step, which is attentive, not chanting, attentive chanting. That is very, very important. We also see Guru Maharaj, his first instruction is, please chant attentively. When we get those realizations, on a daily basis on WhatsApp, most of the time is attentive chanting. Chanting is better than not chanting. But if we've been chanting for so many years, then it is time that it becomes attentive chanting. So Prabhupada says that some people think that if they engage in sense gratification and then they do devotional service also side by side, is it good? Can we understand Krishna? We cannot put our one foot in one boat and another foot in another boat. Then what will happen? We are going to fall down. So here Prabhupada says that it is not possible to understand Krishna if we are engaged in sense gratification. He can be understood only by pure devotional service, like the 6 Goswamis, like Srila Prabhupada, like Swarup Damodar Goswami. They all were able to understand Krishna because of their purity. Now in verse number 108, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is comparing Srimati Radharani's state. What is it? So here we see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mad in separation. He's like running around, he's searching for Krishna, for himself, because he's in the mood of Radharani. And when Radharani, she saw Uddhava coming. Do you remember in 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam? When she saw Uddhava coming, what did she think? Krishna has come. Why? Because Uddhava looks like Krishna, the same, yes, body complexion, almost looks like Krishna. So she thought Krishna has come, so she went mad. And she thought that, okay, Krishna is coming towards me. And she became more mad intensely in separation from Krishna. Prabhupada says that is real worship of Krishna. Now, is it possible for us to get that feeling of separation? We get feeling of separation from our children, from our parents. I don't know about spouse, but we get feelings of separation. If you're married for so many years, then feelings of separation from spouse reduces. Then it goes towards the children, then it goes towards family members or friends or whoever it may be. If they are out of sight, then we are in anxiety. In my days, there was no phones, right? Even landline was not there. TV was not there. It's so ancient. But nowadays, it's easy, just connect to the phone, FaceTime, let me see you where you are, what are you doing? All that was not there before. That is attachment. So here, that separation from Krishna comes only at a pure level of devotional service. So Srila Prabhupada, he talks about the Sahajiyas in one of the purports, especially in 108 verse. We know Sahajiyas are there in Vrindavan. We have seen, I don't know how many of you have seen the Sahajiyas. Anyone seen Sahajiyas in Vrindavan? No? Oh.
I think they dress like Krishna or gopis.
They dress like gopis. Yes, they dress like gopis. They wear ghungru, and then they keep dancing. They keep dancing around. They have makeup of a woman, etc. They wear ornaments and all. They dress like a woman, and then they think that they are going to do rasa dance with Krishna. So Prabhupada says, Sahajiyas, that is cheaply imagining that I am in love with Krishna, or I am feeling separation from Krishna. That he's saying is cheaply. And one can meet Krishna only when we follow strictly the process given to us by Srila Prabhupada. If we follow the attitude of separation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is very difficult, even to theoretically, how many of us sit and meditate, oh, this is how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt separation from Krishna? Anyone? Not me. It's so difficult to even imagine. We can only hear about it, read about it. But Srila Prabhupada says, when we follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's attitude of separation, then we can come gradually closer to Krishna. In verse number 109, Srila Prabhupada says that how fortunate is Swarup Damodar. Why? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would put his head on Swarup Damodar and speak his heart out. Imagine Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on your shoulder speaking his heart out. Then what would we do? What did Swarup Damodar do? He started singing. He started reciting so that he could pacify Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he could understand that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is feeling the grief of separation from himself, from Krishna himself. So it is to show us that this is how Radharani feels for Krishna. And when Krishna left Vrindavan, of course, Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, but from their vision, when Krishna left Vrindavan, how did Srimati Radharani feel? This is how she felt, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is feeling. And in verse 110, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is then pacified by beautiful songs sung by Swarup Damodar. We sing regularly, we recite verses regularly, but when we are doing that, what is our thought behind it? Is it that I have to finish today's reading? Guru Maharaj said you have to read 2 hours every day, so let me finish it today. Finish. Oh, my job is done. Put it in the report. I read 2 hours today. Is that what it is? What is the thought behind it? Srila Prabhupada says the thought behind should be that we want to satisfy Krishna. We are reading about him so that we can understand how glorious he is, and then we can start developing that attraction towards him. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in the very next verse, he says, there is no need to analyze now. It's good news for us, right? No need to analyze, just here. But then he says, he starts talking about Krishna's three ages that he goes through, like his childhood, his boyhood, and as a teenager in Vrindavan. And he explains that during the time when he was a child, he got a lot of affection from Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya, right? Yashoda Maya, it seems, used to cook 8 times a day, 8 preparations. And there is 8 preparations a day, and for 7 days, that is 56, that is Chappan Bhog. That is how Chappan Bhog came around. This is what I learned in Vrindavan. When he was holding the Govardhan hill, right? When he was holding the Govardhan hill for 7 days, Yashoda Maya and everyone were just looking at Krishna, and they forgot to feed him. So then they had to give him Chappan Bhog, 7 for 7 days, 8 meals. For us to make 3 meals is such it's like what to cook, whether family will like it or not like it, Chappan Bhog every day, or at least 8 meals every day. Not practical for us. We are lazy people. But she made every day 8 meals for Krishna. That much love and affection. Of course, just because you feed doesn't mean you love, or if you don't feed, you don't love. But here we see Prabhupada explains that in childhood, he got a lot of love and affection from his parents. And when in boyhood, with his friends. And then when he became a teenager, then from the gopis. He enjoyed with the gopis in the rasa dance. In youth, he enjoyed rasa dance. And that is when he tasted the mellows of conjugal love. Previously, it was Vatsalya Ras of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. Then with friends, which is Sakhya Ras. But then in rasa dance is when everybody enjoyed the mellows of conjugal love. So Prabhupada says that these pastimes were there to fulfill the desires of Krishna. Not that the gopis wanted to enjoy themselves, but they wanted to give enjoyment to Krishna. So they always wanted to give him pleasure and not think of how can I enjoy with Krishna today. Let me dress in such a way that he only looks at me. Let me dress very beautifully so he only looks at me and he'll only dance with me. And that is what gopis thought, right? Everyone thought that Krishna is only dancing with me. But their attitude was, how can we give pleasure to Krishna? Srila Prabhupada in 115 verse, he says that in 10th canto, there is a lot of description about, especially about the rasa dance, but he says that we should not discuss rasa dance. Why do you think we should not discuss rasa dance? It's nice, it's dance and music and singing, and why shouldn't we?
We are not
Yes.
elevated. We are impure.
What? Huh?
We are impure. We are not elevated yet.
Yes, we are not qualified. Because that is discussed only on a very high level stage when there is enough purity. And the gopis, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is addressing gopis as jewel-like milkmaids. Vrindavan, of course, milk. They were milkmaids. So he calls them jewel-like milkmaids. They are considered to be the topmost devotees of Krishna. Even Chaitanya Mahāprabhu, when he came 500 years ago, he glorified the gopis and stressed the point that the highest level of devotion can be learned only from the gopis. Then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he talks about Radha and Krishna and their pastimes, how they would spend time alone in the night. And it is very, very, very important to understand that we cannot compare Radha Krishna's love with mundane love, right? Before marriage, there is that dating period, it's called, right? Or there's another word for it. What is that?
Engaged.
Courtship.
Courtship, yes, courtship, yes. We've forgotten, it's been a long time. In my days, there was no dating. So, where was I?
In our love.
We were in our love. So, cannot compare it with mundane love, right? Mundane love is what in dating, go to a beautiful place, candlelight dinner, flowers, chocolates, or whatever. We cannot compare that with this love of Radha and Krishna. We cannot even compare it with the love that we see in the movies. This is pure spiritual love. It has nothing to do what is shown in the movies or we see in our day-to-day life. So in verse number 118, we see there's a nice conversation, right? Vrinda Devi. So, she says, if Krishna and Radha did not come to Mathura, then the demigod of love, what is his name? The Cupid. Kamdev. His job would be useless. What could he do in Vrindavan? Nothing. It's only because Radha and Krishna were present that he became useful as a Cupid. So from this we can understand in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am the ability in man, right? But we think that whatever I do is because of me, because of my ability. But Krishna says the ability comes from me. So similarly, we can see that demigod of love was able to act as Cupid because of Krishna's mercy, because of the ability coming from Krishna himself. And then this verse 119 and 120, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is talking about 3 desires. And I was thinking, Krishna has desires too. We have unlimited desires, but they are mundane or material or whatever. Maybe some of them are spiritual. But here, imagine Krishna unable to fulfill 3 of his desires. How is that possible? God, Supreme Lord, he cannot fulfill his own desires. He made efforts, but he was unsuccessful. Now, how is that possible? What do you think? Is that possible? Krishna cannot fulfill his own desires?
Yogamaya does it to intensify his feeling.
This is just to show us these different pastimes so that we can relish these different pastimes. And then in the next verse says, what are those 3 desires? The first desire is, Krishna says, I am the primary cause of all causes. Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma has clearly told us Krishna is the cause of all causes. In the Bhagavad Gita, we learn Krishna is the cause of all causes. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we learn Krishna is the cause of all causes. And here also, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying Krishna is the cause of everything and everyone. Even though Krishna is in full spiritual truth, he is full of joy, but Radharani drives him mad. And that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in that mood, because he was in the mood of Radharani, and Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wants to see how does Radharani drive Krishna mad. And then he could feel that. And that's why we have heard in Caitanya Caritamrta that sometimes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go, and jump in the Ganges, and then he would, just in madness, and then someone had to go and, rescue him, bring him out of the Ganges, river Ganges. It's all that different mood, that different emotions, whatever Radharani feels, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was feeling. And of course, when we hear that Radharani drives Krishna mad, how do we understand that? How do we realize that? It's so very difficult. It's Prabhupada says it's beyond our imagination, it's beyond our realization. But if we sincerely want to understand, if we sincerely want to realize whatever the scriptures are telling us, whatever the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, whatever the mood of Srimati Radharani is, if we want to, then we need to pray to Krishna to help us realize this knowledge. Otherwise, it will just be theory, which is also good. And then, of course, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Krishna does not know Radharani's love. And her love is overwhelming him. Then I was thinking, he's Supreme Lord. How come he doesn't know? What do you think? He doesn't know? He doesn't know. That's why he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to find out how it feels. What are those feelings that Radharani feels for Krishna himself? So he came to relish that mode. And Krishna, in verse 124, Krishna says, Radharani is my teacher, and I am the student of Radharani. And of course, when he says that, he's saying she's my teacher because she's teaching me how to dance. Krishna doesn't know to dance. Radharani knows to dance better. So he has taken Radharani as a teacher, and he's a student. In movies, I believe they say, ungli pe nachana. Right? We have heard that ungli pe nachana. What is that? Make you dance on the fingertips. When do we see that in this material world? I didn't say it. Right? One of the spouse is making the other one dance on the finger. But in spiritual life, that does not happen. Why? Both of them have the same goal. They both want to be Krishna conscious. They both want to help each other to reach the spiritual goal. But in movies and in material world, we see ungli pe nachana. So making someone dance on the fingertips. And when Krishna is saying that she's my teacher and she's making me dance, and they are going all around dancing, 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 she's showing and he is performing the way she is teaching him, that is called being crazy in love. That is real love. It's not that Radharani thinks, oh, now I'm the teacher, so Krishna, you are below me. No. Or Krishna doesn't think that, she's my, no. There is equality over there. But of course, when we see this ungli pe nachana, we can see that especially those who are just married. I have noticed not from my personal experience, but I have noticed when, you walk around and you meet people and all, when you see the boy and the girl walking hand in hand, looking at each other, smiling unnecessarily, the girl talking, boy only listening. What stage is that? No, dating. Dating. That is dating. Right? Like, you're my whole world. Look at your eyes. Look at your smile. It's like a lotus flower. Now the same beautiful smile after a few years of marriage, why are you showing your battisi, come on, stop smiling, why are you showing your 32 teeth? Now that smile from lotus flower has become just teeth. This is how material life is. This doesn't happen in spiritual love.
Give some example from others.
From which side? From which side?
Like this is the husband is giving the example of 32 teeth, right?
Huh.
What is the other example?
Then the sari pallu will go like that, like this, and then you said you will give me this, you said you will give me. Previously, before marriage, I asked you for one flower, you gave me the whole bouquet, and now I ask you for anything and you don't give anything at all. Where are all those promises gone? Right? This is mundane love, which we have all tried. I'm not going to ask who's happy, who's not happy, but we have tried, right? And we always think grass is greener on the other side, right? But it is not. But in spirituality, how fortunate are we that today we are sitting here and hearing Krishna Katha, right? Otherwise, what would we be doing if Srila Prabhupada did not come to the US? He did not give all his books to us. He did not give us chanting. He did not show us how to perform devotional service, offering food, reading of scriptures, associating with devotees, temples, festivals. What would we be doing? It's a good idea to think about this on a daily basis, meditate on this, and be grateful to Guru and Krishna, and of course Srila Prabhupada, that they gave us Krishna consciousness. Then finally, in verse number 125, that is when we see the conversation where the gopis and Vrinda Devi, they talk about, where are they? Well, they are gone, they are not there. What are they doing? Radharani is teaching Krishna dancing at Radha Kund, and Krishna is learning the dancing, and he wants to become the best dancer. And he's learning the dancing from the best dancer, which is Srimati Radharani. And finally, in the last verse, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that Radharani, she relishes love for Krishna 10 million times more than what Caitanya Mahāprabhu is experiencing in the mood of Radharani. 10 million times. And Caitanya Mahaprabhu's purpose, one main purpose, internal reason to come down in this earthly planet was to relish that love of Srimati Radharani in the same way like she did. So we can see that how great Radharani's love for Krishna is. It's theoretically also very difficult to understand, but we hope and pray that by mercy of Guru and Krishna, we'll be able to realize what we are reading. So this is how we end at verse number 126. If anyone has any questions, you're welcome to ask.